On the rainy afternoon of the last day of LGBT History Month, I met with some of those working tirelessly to preserve London's queer history. I first joined the King's Cross leg of Queer Footprints, a walking tour led by Dan Glass and organised by LSE. Dan is a human rights activist and author of Queer Footprints, a guide to uncovering London's fierce history, from which the walking tour is based.
What made me write Queer Footprints, a guide to uncovering London's fierce history, is I love our community. I think our community is phenomenal with everything that we've been through, all the battles that we've had to face and all the things that we've had to fight for and love each other to get through. I'm so proud of our community. I'm so proud of being queer. And the other main reason is this is a revenge book because I'm angry about Section 28, which banned the promotion of homosexuality in local authorities, in public institutions. As a kid, I never heard about LGBT liberation, let alone rights. And I turned in on myself, and I'm making up for lost time. And by digging deeper, I like the term, it's not when we come out, but what did we come into when we really find out about how amazing our community is, who we've not been allowed to find out about.
We began at Houseman's Bookshop, whose basement was the birth ground of Switchboard, then known as London Gay Switchboard, which was the vital LGBT support helpline that began in 1974. We quickly moved from site to site, including what used to be the old Conservative Club at Argyle Square, where Mark Ashton, a famous London gay rights activist, worked. The penultimate stop was Gay's the Word, the oldest LGBT bookshop in the UK and an iconic part of queer history. They're notably known for being the first meeting grounds of the political group Lesbian and Gays Support the Miners, who raised funds for Welsh miners during the 1984 to 1985 miners' strike. It's remembering those that have come before that inspires Dan's outlook on the future of queer activism.
In terms of where do we go next, when we're talking about cherishing queer history and the mantra of remembering the dead and fighting for the living, for me it's remembering that the job is not done until everyone is free. I understand why people are like, come on, let's just put our feet up. And don't get me wrong, I like a laugh and I like a party, but we cannot stop until everyone is free. And that's people who are at the sharp end of the knife. If we're looking at, for example, LGBT migrants who are trying to exist within a hostile environment, LGBT homeless who are trying to exist within this housing crisis, we have to be led by those at the sharp end of the knife. And that is only going to bring us more joy and more unity and more understanding. The job is not done, but there's joy in that because we live our freedoms through each other.
Our final stop was LSE Library, where a drop-in session of the Hall Carpenter archives, which hold numerous LGBT artefacts, took place. Dr. Gillian Murphy, LSE Library Curator, took me through some of her favourite artefacts within the collection.
So my favourite thing really in the archive is the Gay Liberation Front poster, which was hand-drawn, and it was used for their meeting. So the Gay Liberation Front started at LSE in October 1970. So this poster is either November, December for 1970 or early 1971, because the meetings weren't held at LSE for very long.
Amongst the archives included pictures and early logbooks from LGBT Switchboard, anti-Section 28 protest posters and booklets, gay news newspapers from the 70s, and news articles on protests demanding government action on the AIDS epidemic. It's sometimes difficult to picture those who've come before us. They can feel distant, constrained to the black and white of history books. It's the tireless work of people like Dan Glass and Dr. Gillian Murphy who, despite the long hours and grey skies of London, paint queer history and people in vibrant, defiant colour.